Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. I am Tina Smith, and if you are here to learn how to be an excellent house sitter so that you can save money and build wealth while traveling the world, you are in the right place. Welcome. This is my second go live, and I realized yesterday during my first one that I was speaking very, very fast. So today I'm going to try to slow down and just kind of hang out with you guys. I hope everyone is having a fantastic day. I am currently on a house sit in the beautiful city of San Miguel de Allende, Mexico, and I have temporary residency here in Mexico. So I actually came, I'm on a 3 month or a 10-week house sit because it's time for me to renew my residency. Um, so today I actually went down to the immigration office because I needed to change my address first because you have to go ahead and do that within 30 days since I want to renew here. And this is a different place from where I actually got my residency. I'll do another video about that. Let's get into today's topic because I want you guys to be 5-star house sitters wherever you choose to go. So I'm going to talk about 5 things that you should not do if you want to keep your house sitter reputation intact. Because after you go on your first house sit, you're going using the Trusted House Sitter platform or any platform, I'm sure, but I am 100% partial to the Trusted House Sitters platform. That is the only platform that I've ever used in my nearly 3 years and over 20 house sits on 5 continents. And that's the one I would love for you to use too. And if you decide to use that platform, stay tuned till the end because I will tell you about um, some perks that I have for you to do that. All right, let's get to it. The first one, and I have my note card here so that I don't get too far off track. The first one is you don't like to clean up behind yourself. All right, people are going to say it, you know, implicitly. Sometimes they come out and say it when they post their house sits. But what I see most commonly is please leave my home in the same cleanliness condition that you found it. So if you don't like to clean up behind yourself, even if you go on a house sit that's only for one day, you are going to, make a mess. We're humans. So if you don't clean up behind yourself, you're going to get a bad review. Again, think of this, you're being watched. You get to leave a review for the host of how you thought the house sit was, if they described it accurately and such, and they get to leave a house sit for you. I'm sorry, a review for you. And it's going to be very honest because the thing is, yours should be very honest also because you don't want people to expect one thing who come after you and not get it. So you should be very honest, and your host is definitely going to be very honest. And you rate each other on a star system. So if you don't clean up behind yourself, stars will be deducted. There are only 5 stars. And a tip that I would like to share is that when I am doing house sits in the United States, or even if I'm abroad, in the United States, I just keep cleaning supplies in my trunk, in the trunk of my car at all times. I don't even have to load them up if I'm going on a house sit. And then when I leave the country, I usually have to go to a store and buy my own cleaning supplies because a lot of times, or let me just say sometimes, a house might not be up to your cleanliness standards. So you might even need to do a bit of cleaning before you even get started on the sit. So of course that means it's going to be excellent on your part because the house will be cleaner than the person left it. And a thing that I carry with me is that sometimes people don't realize that their house is not clean. And when they come back, if they've been somewhere that was cleaner, let's say a person leaves their home, and when you get there, you're like, I need to do a little cleaning before I'm comfortable being here. that person who is going away is usually going on a vacation. They might stay in a hotel, they might go stay at a resort, they might go on a cruise. Wherever they go is probably going to be very pristine so that their minds are going to become acclimated to clean environments. And so it's really good also to remember that or to acknowledge that, because if they didn't realize that their house wasn't as clean as they thought, they might blame you. I've never had that happen because I usually have to clean when I get to a house. Um, Not have to, but I prefer to. Let me say that. People's houses are fine. Excuse me. I've only been to one house that was very, very unclean. Um, and otherwise, the houses are very clean, but we all have our own standards, right? Okay, moving on. Number two, you don't like to keep in touch. This is a big one. I realize if you guys hear a dog barking, that's the dog that I'm sitting outside my window. So some people just aren't natural. Let's keep in touch. I'm going to text you. I'm going to call you. But this is an integral part of house sitting. When someone leaves their home or their pets in your care, they want updates periodically. Some people like daily updates. Some people will tell you, do not contact me daily. Just check in every few days. You can kind of get a gauge after you send your first message of how often a person might want to be um, in touch. So I'm going to have to get up and let the dog in. He wants to come into my casita. I'll be right back. All right. Sorry, you guys. I usually leave the door cracked so that he can come in. She can come in, but I forgot to do that this time. So I was saying that sometimes you don't want to, overwhelm somebody, but you should at least reach out daily at first or at least every other day to let them know how things are going. Just say hello, check in. Most especially if you're sitting a pet, you want to send them photos of this pet. Cute little photos, perhaps, or it's good if you're in the photo so that you can show some interacting, but you don't have to be. But you don't want someone to, the point of you being at the sit is for them to have a bit of ease. So you don't want them to be wondering if you abandon. There are some house sitting horror stories, and some people leave sits. They just abandon the house, abandon the pets um, for whatever reason. So you don't want them to wonder if you're there, if their pet is okay, if you're hiding something. So go ahead and communicate upfront, even if it's not your thing. And a tip is to set an alarm to remind you to do this every day. Or, on a lot of phones, you can schedule, if you're going to be sending a text, you might just schedule a text, you know, for a few days in advance if you might get too busy or maybe forget. Number three, you don't follow directions well. It's okay if you don't follow directions well, usually, but a house sit is the time for you to really try your best to change that. Because if there is something very important, the number one thing that's coming to mind is trash day and recycling day. So let's say you're on a week house sit and you only get a week long house sit and you only get one chance at putting the trash out and you forget. You didn't follow the directions to separate the recycling, or let's just stop at that. So let's say you forgot, you didn't follow the directions to put the trash can on the curb on Wednesday morning. Or let's say the person said trash pickup is Wednesday morning, but do not put the trash out Tuesday night because animals will come and get into it and just stroll it everywhere. All right. If you fail to do either one of those, if you put it out at night and it shouldn't go out, of course, you're going to have a mess to clean up, and the neighbors might report it, or they might have an outdoor camera. So that just won't look good. And let's say you completely forget and don't put it out at all. Well, when the hosts come back, they won't have anywhere to put their own trash, and they won't appreciate that. So make sure you get meticulous and do whatever you have to do to, write the directions out or something so that you can follow along with them. Number 4 is that you don't like problem solving. Having a little trouble reading my own handwriting, you guys. So if you don't like problem solving, either you want to house sit with a partner, with your significant other, or you just might not want to go on a house sit unless you have someone on standby who you can call that can give you a little advice. Because just like problems come up at your own house or apartment or wherever you live, problems are going to come up at a house sit. Let me think of something that I've had to problem solve. Nothing big, just something to solve. And you don't want to be, the type of person who gets easily overwhelmed when things go a little off track without having a plan on how to get yourself back on track. Because it's not really the best idea to call the host about every single little thing if it's something that you can solve yourself. So I can think of 2. One is hilarious. It was on my first house sit. The way their lock on the back door worked, it will lock behind you. I forgot my set of keys once. I was sitting 2 dogs and a cat, and I had to take the dogs out every now and then into the backyard so that they could go to the bathroom, go to the potty. So I locked myself out one day. It was about day 3 or 4. Locked myself out in the backyard, and I had to figure out how to get back in. And it was hilarious, y'all. I checked all of the windows, or so I thought. No, I checked all of the windows except the ones that were higher up, because I knew I was not going to climb high up to get into a window. So I only had one of the dogs outside, one of the other dog and the cat were inside, and these were big dogs, German Shepherds. So the one out with me is looking like, what is going on? Why aren't we going back in? And the one inside is looking like, what? Like, this is the weirdest thing. It was just hilarious. So I checked the windows. All of them were locked. So I stood there for a little while, got myself together. It was very early in the morning. Oh, and to top it off, I had to work from home, and I had like 15 minutes before work started. So I couldn't clock in out here. So eventually I left the dog and went to the neighbor's house and asked if I could use the phone so that I could call a locksmith. This was in 2022, my first house sit. She had an autoimmune disease, so she couldn't let me in her house because this was still during a time when people were wary about COVID. So she couldn't let me into her house. She even had a mask on when she opened the door. She said that she would call around to try to get a good price and send someone over. So I said, okay. So I went back to the house, and I'm standing out there, and it's like 20 minutes have passed, 15, 20 minutes have passed. So I'm like, I have to clock in for work. I was finally like, forget it. I'm just going to, the back door had a big glass pane. I was like, I'm just going to break this glass and go in, and I will just pay to replace the glass. Because I had a big meeting that morning. So I picked up the biggest stone I could find. There were no huge rocks in the backyard, but the biggest stone I could find. I picked it up. I threw it at the window. The window did not break. I threw it very hard. And so it dawned on me, girl, this window is like anti-theft. It's to a house. It's not going to just break easily like a movie. So I said, okay, that's out. So I went back and I checked one of the check the windows again. And sure enough, one of the lower windows was unlocked. I don't know why I couldn't let it up initially. So I let it in. The dog went in before me because I'm sure he was like, what are we doing? And so I got in that way. Went back and told the neighbor. She laughed, and that was that. But and my cell phone was in the house too. And of course I didn't know the host number offhand. But even if I did, they had gone far away, like out of the state. What were they supposed to do? So yeah, you have to know how to troubleshoot and figure things out. The second example was a fire alarm situation, a smoke detector situation in an apartment, but eventually somebody from the leasing office came and helped me. So you just have to figure out how to work things out on your own. And then the final, if you can, the final one I want to talk about is really a big one, but the biggest one, perhaps, but the most simple. You are not sure that you really want to be a house sitter. If you are not sure, just don't apply and accept a sit until you do become sure. And I'm not talking about if you have a few jitters or I mean if you just don't know if you want to do it, because if you back out at the last minute, the host is going to have a very hard time finding someone else at the last minute. They might have to cancel flights, cancel hotels. They might have made plans that were non-refundable. They might be going to a one-time event like a wedding or a funeral or something that they, can't do over. So you don't want to be the person who ruins their opportunity to participate in something that they planned for because you're not sure. So it's okay to not be sure. Just take a little time to make sure you're sure before you book a sit. I promised you that at the end I would let you know a few perks I have if you would like to become a house sitter. So perk number one is that I have a 25% off discount code that you can use to sign up for Trusted House Sitters. And it is in the link in the description. And then perk number two is that if you're just thinking about it and you want to go check out the Trusted House Sitters platform, I have a free downloadable video. The link is also for that in the description. And it goes through how to search properly on Trusted House Sitters. And this is a great one so that you can prevent becoming overwhelmed by all of the hundreds of thousands of sits that are available on Trusted House Sitters. And you can see my favorite filters that I use so that you can make sure you're taking advantage of all of the things that the hosts offer for you. Thank you so much for joining me on Wanderlust Homebody. I'm Tina Smith, and I will see you next time.